Welcome to the Beyond Face Value show with Dr. Jill Wade, your host, but I am your co-host. I'm Laura Lewis Edwards, and today we've got some really interesting stuff to talk about. As a matter of fact, a little teaser here for you. We are going to be talking about the power of the toothbrush and how it can ward off illness and even death. That sounds pretty dramatic. But here I am with Dr. Jill Wade. Dr. Jill, I'm so happy to be with you here again today.
I know, it's so much fun. And this, again, is one of my most favorite topics. Not death, of course, but the connection between the mouth and the rest of the body, and especially the heart.
And you know, the thing about this is, I mean, when we were growing up, that people really didn't associate toothbrushing with your overall health, right? I mean, the oral systemic connection. And I have to tell you, when we were prepping for this episode, I read somewhere now that there's over 700 illnesses that are related in the body to the mouth and the health of the mouth. And that's pretty astounding. But today we're not going to talk about all 700.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Right.
We only have a short period of time.
Right. So really, I mean, the thing is that I actually love this topic very much. And, you know, if there's sort of this idea, this is all based upon some research that was done. There's some research studies that we'll be talking about that were published in the Journal of American Medicine by Harvard. And what they did is they found that, and generally speaking, right now we'll dig into the details, is that people that are in hospitals, particularly ICUs, that they did much better with having their teeth brushed while they're a certain number of times, which we'll talk about. So the idea is when you're going to go visit somebody in the hospital, why not bring them a toothbrush and toothpaste versus flowers? And I know it sounds rather tongue-in-cheek, you know, pun intended, I guess. But really, this is serious stuff.
Very serious stuff.
So you want to dive in a little bit, or you want me to go ahead and roll through it?
Why don't you roll through a couple of them, and then I'm going to bring it back around here in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. Something kind of secretive and exciting.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this, particularly about the seriously ill hospitalized patients. They have been found to be far less likely to develop hospital-acquired pneumonia if their teeth are brushed twice daily. I'm going to say that again, okay, because this is really important, because a lot of people that are, especially in ICU, they'll end up with a pneumonia, hospital-acquired pneumonia, because it's in the air, it's on surfaces that you just can't help it. If their immune system is down, they are more likely to acquire it. However, if they're getting their teeth brushed daily, then they're not likely to get it as much. And also, you have to think about that. Well, that's fascinating. Why would that be, right? So these patients are also need ventilators for less time. They're able to leave ICU earlier and more quickly, and are less likely to die in the ICU than patients without a similar toothbrushing regimen. I mean, that is powerful.
Super powerful. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Super easy.
Right, exactly. I mean,
super easy.
And that would be like, let's think about that. Someone's in an ICU, they are depending upon other people to take care of them. If this could just be integrated into the daily care, the hourly care, you know, of your patients, is that if we get people to do that, that would be wonderful. So why would toothbrushing make a difference? So it makes sense that toothbrushing, it removes the bacteria that can lead to so many bad outcomes. So plaque on the teeth is so sticky that rinsing alone can't effectively dislodge the bacteria. So only toothbrushing can. Is that right?
Correct.
So if you're just swishing, that plaque's not going to come off.
No.
And the plaque is a lot of bacteria, right? I mean,
it is.
What is in plaque? What is it?
Plaque?
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it is a sticky formation of multiple things, but we don't have to get you bored in exactly what it is.
Right.
But basically, it is a combination of debris, some of the food, some of the things that we drink, along with bacteria, and other sticky products and byproducts that the bacteria does. So when that happens, I always try to tell my patients it's almost like it starts to be like Velcro. And no matter what you do, until it gets brushed off, it just kind of keeps attracting and more and more and more. And so that's why the brushing. Do you ever feel like your teeth feel like they have little fuzzies on them, like little vests?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's what's going on. It's time to brush the teeth, trying to get that off so that it gets back to the smooth aspect of our teeth and forms this really nice little slippery thing called the pellicle.
Oh.
And that's why when you get your teeth clean, it feels so good after you had them polished. It's because that pellicle is there and it's really fresh, it's really slippery, and it again, it kind of almost like is so slippery that the plaque can't stick.
I can't adhere. That makes sense. And I just learned a new word. Thank you, pellicle.
Pellicle.
I like that word.
I like that word.
The pellicle, the slickness on your teeth. And it makes perfect sense that plaque can't really stick as easily.
Right. Which is why if your mouth is too dry, it's hard to form the slippery pellicle.
Okay.
And so the Velcro aspect of things happens much, much faster, rapidly, more often during the day. And that's why people who have drier mouths have much more susceptibility to all the bad things that's going on in the mouth, periodontal disease, cavities, things like that. So,
I would suspect when you're in the hospital, in an ICU, and you might not be conscious, and your mouth is open and your mouth is getting dry. So you're really setting it up for just bacteria to adhere even more readily. So just keeping the mouth clean with toothbrushing makes perfect sense. I want to go back to the pneumonia. So pneumonia consistently falls among the leading infections patients develop while hospitalized. So according to the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, they say that each year, more than 633,000 Americans who go to the hospital for other health issues wind up getting pneumonia. And 8% of those Americans die from pneumonia. So let's talk about this study. Let's get into the details, because I do want to ask you some other questions about toothbrushing after all this. I know you have stuff you want to talk about. But, it's like, can you brush your teeth too much? And when should you brush your teeth and all that? I mean, that's a typical thing. But I want to say this right now, is that sometimes if people hear, oh, we're talking about how many times you brush your teeth a day, this is serious business. It really is serious. This can make the difference between your quality of life, how long you live, how long you keep your teeth, but that's also correlated with some other things too, which I know in a future episode we're going to talk about that has to do with other parts of the body. But let's talk about this study.
Right.
How is this study done that came to these conclusions about pneumonia and deaths and ICU and statistics? Researchers reviewed 15 randomized trials encompassing nearly 2,800 patients. Sorry, big one. All the studies compared outcomes among the seriously ill hospitalized patients who had daily toothbrushing to those who did not. Okay, so here's what they did. They looked at 14 of the studies were conducted in ICUs. 13 of the studies involved patients who needed to be on a ventilator. 11 of the studies used an antiseptic rinse called chlorhexidine gluconate for all patients, those who underwent toothbrushing and those who didn't. So the findings were compelling and really should spur efforts to standardize what we're talking about this twice daily toothbrushing for all hospitalized patients. Study participants who were randomly assigned to receive twice daily toothbrushing were 33% less likely to develop hospital-acquired pneumonia. And these effects were magnified for people on ventilators who needed this invasive breathing assistance for less time if their teeth were brushed. So less time on the ventilators. Overall, the study participants were 19% less likely to die in the ICU.
Great.
And able to graduate from ICU faster with this twice daily oral regimen. And so the question is really why? It's not complicated, right? It's
not really.
So it says pneumonia is hospitalized in hospitalized patients often stems from breathing germs into the mouth, germs which number more than 700 different species, including bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microbes. It's just, I mean, just to think about that, right? You're breathing it in. It's really difficult to keep the air in the hospital really clean. So, and the prospect looms larger for ventilated patients since the breathing tube inserted into the throat can carry bacteria farther down the airway. So ventilated patients lose the normal way of removing some of this bacteria. Without the ventilator, we can sweep it out of your upper airways. I mean, are you kidding me? Crazy stuff, right? So that's really, really interesting, isn't it?
I'm going to give you a little story,
Okay.
which might help just kind of simplify it, like really simplify it. So when we go in and brush our teeth, we have our little slippery teeth. And I say when we don't brush our teeth, it's kind of like a party. It's like a party at a house of your teenagers who aren't really supposed to be having a party at your house. Okay? It might start off with a few good party people, good kids, and then let's say we don't brush our teeth and that party keeps going on. All of a sudden, somebody else hears there's a party coming and they didn't really get invited, but they got to be let into the party.
Okay.
Okay. And then more people got brought into the party. And then they told more people and more people got brought into the party.
Not good.
And guess what? The longer it goes, do more good party people come in or do bad party people come in and start to destroy things? And it just grows and grows and grows, kind of like the Velcro that I was talking about a few minutes ago. Well, if you don't brush and get it off, the Velcro is just going to keep attracting and attracting and attracting more bad party people.
Yeah.
And so until you brush or until you rinse and get that out, you're just growing a lot of bad parties in the mouth. And that's what we say. That's why we want you to get your teeth more professionally cleaned. That's why we want to clean your teeth on a regular basis, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, because science shows that when you can get and what we call disrupt the party, because the party's going on.
Right.
We just are okay with the good party, not the bad party. And so if you can keep disrupting at a good interval, then you're disrupting the bad party and your body will typically rid it. But in, like you said, the ICU, where you're sick and your immune system is maybe already dropped, these bad party people really are aggressive. They take advantage of the situation and they really can hurt somebody.
Knock holes in the walls.
Holes in the walls.
Like this bacteria. I mean,
yes.
and there's a lot of bacteria, and you may clarify this for me, is that I know that now they're even proving that the bacteria in the mouth can go through the gastrointestinal system.
Oh, absolutely.
That you think, oh, it's not going to survive the acid in the stomach. They find that it's going from the mouth down into the intestines. And I mean, this is like really...
Because if you have leaky gut, then it's actually penetrating and getting directly into the bloodstream. It can get into the bloodstream directly in the mouth, and it can get in through the bad bacteria through the gut itself, the stomach itself, and through the walls of the stomach right into the bloodstream.
Right, exactly. It's crazy because segueing over then is that our gut begins in our mouth. This is really what we're talking about. So really we're talking about is we want healthy bacteria in our mouth, right?
We do. We're not sterile.
Right.
And we don't want to be sterile. And we're not trying to make your mouth or your gut sterile. You've heard of the probiotics and prebiotics and all those kinds of things. We are fine with there being the right or that good party people kind of in the environment. In the mouth, if you think of it like a tube, is the first part of the tube that then drops down in the stomach, goes through all the intestines, small and large, and then comes out the other end. It is ultimately the same tubing.
Well, I'm going to segue now nicely into this plays out in really small and large ways. And the microbes that live in our mouths are possibly connected to our risk in developing colon cancer.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know this. You probably know this. I didn't have any idea about that. But, you know, if you start thinking about it can go all the way from the mouth down into the intestines and the colon. So I found this really interesting. It said this talked about bacteria in our mouths have been proven to have the potential to travel to our stomach and intestines per a study published in March of 2019 in the Journal of Oral Microbiology. By the way, I am a nerd. I'm sorry. And she can put it in party terms. I'm going to talk about research journals, but I'll try to talk about the party too. So gut health also can impact your oral health. So it can go, why would it not be a 2-lane highway?
Right. And you know, the more stress that I find Americans being under these days, the more it does go the opposite direction, because stress really affects the stomach itself and then ultimately creates a lot of what we call acid reflux, heartburn, just they call it lots of different things depending on how bad it is. But the acid, like you said, in the stomach was never meant to be in the mouth or up in the esophagus. So when it does come up, you're not having to throw up, just it can be in vapor form, gurgles, burping, things like that. It creates the wrong environment, a more acidic environment in the mouth, which only invites more of the bad party people.
Because our mouths really, like, what I hate to be, I'm a nerd, I'm going to ask a nerdy question. The pH of the mouth
Should be as neutral as possible.
so that's like 7.2 or a pH or something like that, right? So you don't want to be too alkaline.
Correct.
You don't, which is a lot of not acid, or you don't want to be too acid. Yeah.
Some of there's many techniques to try to, let's say, rebalance that or rebalance the whole intestinal tract, not just the mouth, but the whole intestinal tract. So sometimes we will use alkaline waters, more alkaline foods in order to try to reestablish the balance.
Right.
Some of the products that a lot of dentistry is out there touting is very much in order to allow us to get back to neutral pH.
Nice.
That's why xylitol is so important and things like that on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. So talking about one of my favorite topics, because, I do like this stuff very much, is the microbiome.
Yes.
Or the trillions of bacteria that live in your digestive tract, a lot in your intestines. Sometimes they call it the second brain because there's a lot of other cool stuff going on there. Good bacteria is making some good things for your body. And, you reminded me when you talked about the party in the mouth, there's also another analogy if you flip it down to the intestines. And if the party's going bad, got a lot of bad invaders coming in and pushing out the good bacteria, which can lead to leaky gut you were talking about, which is basically all the parking spaces that typically are taken up along that lining of your intestines by all the good guys. When the bad guys come in and disrupt, some of the cars leave and there's an opening for the bad stuff to go through. But relating that to your mouth, because you've talked about your oral microbiome, which is really all the good bacteria there, that it also says that they say if your gut bacteria is all disrupted, just like you were saying, acid causing everything to go out of whack, that they're also more likely with this unhealthy gut environment to have more buildup of plaque in the mouth because there's this imbalance. So you have to just think top to bottom, right? Bottom to top. So that we have to keep this all in balance, right? So really a few ways to keep all this healthy besides, like if you're someone that likes to drink alkaline water, I think that's a great thing.
It is.
I mean, my degree in nutrition tells me that makes all sorts of sense.
Absolutely.
But they say just to brush and floss 2 times a day, right? I know you say that all the time, right? You want to schedule your regular dental checkups. You do want to make sure that to keep all of this healthy, to consume a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, keep things moving. You don't want stagnant stuff. This, and then healthy fats and proteins, but it keeps all of it nice and healthy. Lots of water, right? I mean, drinking lots of water is really important for that. and then getting enough sleep, rest, napping. I don't know. I love napping if I can. And then after brushing your teeth at night, have you heard of this or do you recommend this? After you're brushing teeth at night, to take a chewable probiotic. Have you heard of this?
Chewable probiotics are great. They're great at night, right before you go to bed. And the reason why we do encourage that at that time of the day is that during the day, we're talking, we're thinking, we think about food, we see a commercial, we think about food. And so you naturally kind of salivate more, right? When you're talking, your lips are moving around, your tongue's moving around. So it's almost doing a little bit of cleaning for you. When we eat and we bite into our food, it's actually starting to clean some of your teeth and get some of that plaque to come off, right?
Right.
So at night, when you do finally fall asleep, we don't have a lot of that activity going on. And so actually nighttime is less naturally cleansing to the teeth. So it's a great time to do your chewable
Probiotics.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Especially since I've admitted in other episodes that I sleep with mouth tape.
Right?
Why not just close those probiotics?
Closing the door to the party. Closing the door to the
love
party.
that. I love that idea. Well, so I know we're getting to the end of this episode, but I did want to ask you, first of all, can you brush your teeth too much?
That is a loaded question there, Laura. Yes, you actually can.
Okay.
You can brush too hard. You can brush too much. You can be too aggressive. However, I'd rather have those issues than not brushing at all.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So you're probably not ever going to hear me tell you you're brushing too much. I just might change your techniques a little bit.
Okay. How long should you wait after you eat before you brush your teeth?
Oh,
I actually know the answer to this, but I want to see what you say.
I don't know. If
I only know
even
this because,
know.
like I like all this research stuff. I've read, which may or may not be true, that you should probably wait about 30 minutes.
That's what I was going to say, about 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay. You're right.
Not immediately, because there's other acids and things going on. It's kind of awesome to let everything kind of settle down just a little bit and then brush.
Right. I mean, I've heard that it kind of preserves the enamel of your teeth. Your body's doing what it knows how to do with the digestive.
Has a little bit to do with your favorite word now, pellicle.
Oh, yes. Your pellicle. I love that. I love that. I want to have that slick pellicle.
Isn't that awesome?
I love that.
So I wanted to go back just real quick because this has been something that tons of my patients have come into the office and said something about. And so I'm sure many of our viewers may have seen the latest show that kind of had this as part of the topic, and it was called Grey's Anatomy. Did you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
I'm sorry. I know what it is, but I was not a regular watcher.
Okay. I was a big fan of Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
And my patients came in the door saying, "Did you watch Grey's Anatomy's show the other day?" I was like, "No, which one?" And they were shocked and amazed that on the show, and I'm so proud of the show for doing this, but they absolutely had a case where one of the doctors, one of the main characters of the show, the season finale, she was saying something about something that hurt in her mouth. And when the season started over again, she literally was in the hospital, and I'm not trying to spoil it for anybody, but go watch it. And she had a heart attack.
Oh.
And throughout the show, they did a great job of revealing the fact that her dental infection was part of the cause of the triggering of her heart attack.
Oh, I love that. And you know what?
It was amazing, and I was so proud of them.
Well, you know what? I think in our next episode, we should talk about that. Right?
I think so.
Because we ran out of time on this one.
Well, thanks for all of that great information. The research is unequivocally proves over time again, healthy mouth, healthy gut, healthy mind, healthy overall.
Yeah, healthy body.
Healthy body.
Right.
And it definitely, like you said, in those ICU situations, it makes a huge difference. And I am glad to start seeing that a lot of the hospitals have not only seen that research, but are actually making that, as you had mentioned earlier, part of the care in ICU.
Excellent.
So it's totally worth it. And I praise all of the nurses out there who are doing that. I know it might not be your zone of excellence, but it really does make a difference, and it's keeping your patients very, very safe.
Right, exactly. So that has been another episode of the Beyond Face of Value show with Dr. Jill Wade, your host, and myself, Laura Lewis Edwards, guest co-host. And we hope you enjoyed it. Please tell your friends about the show. Please go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel at Stonebriar Smile Design YouTube channel. You'll find the Beyond Face Value show podcast there, as well as on any of your favorite podcast platforms. Please like and share, subscribe, and spread the word. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time right here at the Beyond Face Value show with Dr. Jill Wade.
Also, to help us grow and expand our reach, be sure to like and subscribe to this show on YouTube or your favorite podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you prefer. Just remember, it's time to live your legacy now. I'm Dr. Jill Wade, and this has been the Beyond Face Value show. Until next time.